Hi, this is Scott at Chief Architect. I recently took a trip up the British Columbia coastline and I saw this ranger station that I thought would make an interesting roof design tip. So let's get started and open up the program and take a look at how we might do this. Now I've drawn two lines that are 16 feet in length just to give me some bearing as I draw out the structure. Using the curved wall tool, I'm going to snap on to the two ends of this line and then double click the wall, and down here I'm going to lock the ends, and then I'm going to set the radius to be 8 feet. Select OK. Now I'm going to go ahead and continue that around, and with Chief Architect I actually can't connect that wall because a wall can't connect into itself. So break tool, I've actually got two wall segments now, and we'll go ahead and drag that last wall segment around so it meets. Now I have automatic roof set on, so it automatically generated the roof. But let's go in and look at the roof options. Let's look at the roof options that I have set. So my default is an 8 and 12 pitch. Let's actually set that to be 14 and 12. And then this segment on a curved wall, let's reduce that so I don't get too many straight edges. I'll set it to maybe something like 6, and that will smooth that out when we take a 3D overview of the structure. So go ahead and select OK here, and if I take my 3D camera and generate a 3D view, I have what's called the party hat house. So if I split my screen, let's go ahead and choose our wall segments, and I'm going to grab both of those with a shift click. And with the wall segment, what I want to do is on the roof tab, you'll notice that the pitch is set to 14 and 12. The D is for default. Let's define an upper pitch, meaning a two-pitched style roof. And for the upper pitch, let's set that at a very shallow pitch at 2 and 12. And then in from the baseline, which is the outside of that wall, let's go ahead and move that into something like 4 feet. I'm just using an arbitrary value based on the photograph that I had. Select OK. And now what's going to happen is our roof is going to change, and you can see that the upper side of this roof has actually lowered, and we're getting more like the roof that we're after. Now the next step is to curve this last segment, the lower segment, and make the curve setting. So back into the program here. Let me close the 3D view. What I want to do is I want to select all of these roof planes. So I'm going to grab my roof plane tool, hold down the shift key, and I'm going to select all the roof planes. And then I'm going to hold down the control key and shift around the center because I only want to curve this lower section of the roof. So you can see in my screen I've got the highlight on the lower roof plane, and with a double click I can now open up that roof plane information, and with the checkbox here, curved roof, at the ridge, which will be where it joins the upper section, let's go ahead and change that to a very steep value at something like a 75 degree slope. And we'll select OK. And now when I take the 3D overview, you should see our 3D view of the roof. Now the last thing that I want to do is let's actually go in here and let's select these outside walls because I want to make those, actually just turn those invisible. Let's just toggle that box here, invisible. So that toggles the walls off. Let's use a material painter and change some of the materials and textures. First thing I want to do is find a shingle. Here's a weathered shingle. Use a material painter and we'll apply that onto the asphalt shingles. And then let's go back into the manufacturer catalog, and Benjamin Moore has a Canada paint line. So we'll come in here, find a dark brown, and then apply that to our fascia. Now in the photograph that we have here. This is actually a watercolor rendering that I've done of the project. I want to create maybe a little bit of the kiosk approach with panels and then maybe the support, just to show you how that might work. So let's go back into the program, and I'm going to close the library here. And with this, let's actually close our 3D view. And with the layers, let's turn our roof layer off so we don't have all of those roof planes showing. So I'm going to come down here, find our roof planes, and highlight those elements and just turn this display option off. Let's actually turn those lines off, turn those lines back on that we had at the beginning of the video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, using my solid tool, I'm going to create just a maybe a 4-inch post that will come in. Let's go ahead and highlight that. And I'm going to set that post to be something like, let's say 96 inches, which would be the thickness. And we'll come in here, if we zoom in a little bit, we'll set that to be for this direction and then also for this direction. And I'll just position that back. Actually, let's pull that down towards the outside of the structure. And then with the copy tool, let's just slide another copy of that. And as I'm sliding that, I'm going to go ahead and press the Tab key, enter in my dimension of 6 feet. So that's exactly 72 inches. And I'm going to highlight both of those, copy, reflect about the line. And then I'm going to grab the other two elements that we have for the posts. And I'm going to use the Transform Replicate tool down here in the lower left. You'll notice that I've got Transform Replicate. Create a copy of that, and then I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees. Select OK. So I've got the post set up. And now let's go ahead and use the same slab tool. And I'll show you a 3D view here in just a second what I've got. Use the slab tool, and let's create another slab in here that'll be used for the sign panel. Open this one up. And again, the elevation at the top, 96 inches, 54 inches for the total height or thickness of it. Select OK on that. Copy, reflect about the center. Flip that one over and grab both of those, and we'll use the Transform Replicate again. And a copy and 90-degree angle. Select OK, and now I've got that. One last tool, let's go ahead and create a cylinder in the center here, and we'll just make that something like a diameter of maybe 8 inches, and then the height, we'll go ahead and set that to be 12 feet. That theoretically would be one of the support columns or support logs for the structure. Now let's go ahead and take our 3D overview here. In the 3D view, you can see these solids. And let's open up the library browser. And let's find an aluminum that we can apply to at least those posts. So I'm going to come in here, find my aluminum material, and I'm just going to apply that to all of those objects. Finally, I've actually come in and let's use our color match actually off of that fascia, and we'll just paint that center post the same dark brown. I've come in, and in the library here I found a couple of photos that I've imported from the British Columbia area. And if I grab a couple of these photos, we can actually apply that into these panels. So let's go ahead and put a map over here, and let's see if we can find the other map. And we'll just apply it over there. And finally, I've got a backdrop in here that I can apply into the background. And when you do that, you can use your digital camera and then you can reposition it. And if we close our library, that's how I've gone through and created this. And then I've gone through and done the ray trace of this, as well as a watercolor. So here's the watercolor view, and then here's the ray trace view. That ray trace view again is a more advanced view. It takes a little bit longer to do, but Here's an idea how to use the roof tools to create a unique shaped roof. Hope you had fun. Thanks for watching. And if you're interested in creating any of these types of structures, you can use the Chief Architect trial version that you can find off of our website at chiefarchitect.com.